What is going on, everybody? We got Jason Aponte in the building for our weekly State of the Franchise event. Jason, how are we doing today, my guy?
Great, as always, in 49ers land. Nothing no shortage of things to talk about. But yeah, just a regular Wednesday, living the dream, 2022. 49ers still giving us immense content and also still have one more game to play.
100%. And before we get into the meat of the content with the Texans game and how we're going to transition into the Rams game and what that all means, let's talk about some of the administration stuff really quick that came out not too long ago. It does sound like the 49ers potentially could get back Emmanuel Moseley, Mohamed Sanu, Tavon Wilson. How much of an impact would it be to get a couple of those guys back for the Rams this week?
Emmanuel Moseley, the most would be the biggest thing. I mean, right now, the entire secondary, as opposed instead of the only person is Josh Norman is on the COVID list currently, and of course they definitely have time to eventually come off. But yeah, right now you definitely need that. You definitely need him back. So we'll find out. But Emmanuel Moseley being back, huge boost to the secondary in a game that it's got to be all hands on deck. Because it is a must win, clearly. So
obviously, Ambry Thomas was added to the COVID reserve list earlier this week. Jimmy Ward was added as well, along with Marcel Harris and a couple others.
And there was a pump fake on K1 Williams too. Like K1 Williams was on, and then he didn't officially go on. So who the hell knows what's going on right now?
Who the hell knows? But we do know they have the chance to clear by this Sunday.
Best case scenario would be that nobody else tests or gets anything at this point, and you just try to give everybody back. So
absolutely. All right, so that's some of the administration stuff with some of the roster moves coming through. It does appear like the 49ers are getting healthy at the right time. Jimmy Garoppolo spoke today, and I figure we can broach this really quickly just about the thumb, what it means.
Jimmy. Language.
He's been swearing this year. He's not been holding back. He's letting it rip. Obviously, with Jimmy Garoppolo, he talked today at the podium that they had a throwing session yesterday. Felt good, but he woke up this morning and it felt sore. And then we got the swear words that followed about how it effing hurt and all that kind of stuff. What do you think about Jimmy? Obviously, Kyle Shanahan also spoke today. He's straight up said he's not naming the starting quarterback. I think we kind of knew that. We could foreshadow that. It's going to be another situation where we're waiting for Schefter to tweet it out at like 11 o'clock at night. What do you think? What do you think of hearing from Jimmy Garoppolo today and how he talked about his thumb?
Sounds like he really wants to go, and that's the heart of his competitive nature, and that's great, and everything as well. But it's really just going to boil down to what does Kyle Shanahan feel more comfortable with, a 75-80%, appreciate that, bro, 75-80% Jimmy Garoppolo or something like that, or Trey Lance at 100. So it's basically all we're going to be talking about. But that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to try to give it a go this week, and I mean, for everything that we talk about, he's kind of a tough guy, man. And that he's gonna, that he wants to be out there. So yeah, I mean, this is all expected as well too. So it's just, as the 49ers world turns, it's just going to be day to day, press conference to press conference, report after report. And it looks like and then Kyle Shanahan with big Nick Saban energy. I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to name a starter. Get off my lawn. So angry. But here we are. This is where it's at.
I just envision Shanahan will eventually evolve into Belichick at one point in about the next 20 years, where it's just on to Cincinnati, just no facial expressions, doesn't give two S's about anything. But okay, let's talk about the stuff that we really want to talk about. Normally we bury the lead. We'll talk about the quarterback at the end, but let's start right away with the topic of discussion that everyone wants to talk about. Trey Lance came out against the Texans, 16 for 23, 249 touchdowns, 249 yards.
Touchdowns. Goodness gracious.
Let's go Rookie of the Year, baby.
The greatest game in football history. You're welcome.
Let's go, Trey Lance, baby. 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tell me about the tale of two halves.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and that's the best way to put it. As shaky as it was, and I'm talking about like not necessarily his performance in terms of how the offense moved. That was a little shaky. Was as solid and as poised as he looked in the second half, and this is why we implored you guys. Second start, there were going to be some moments like this. He got it out of the way quickly, and good thing it happened against the Texans because it allowed him in the second half to get comfortable. Felt like Kyle Shanahan was looking for his groove as well early on, what he felt comfortable to call, what he felt comfortable that Trey could execute. And then whatever they talked about in the second half, they came out and they executed it beautifully. I do think that the drive right before the half that got them 3 points, that was huge as well. I understand that everybody wants more points and you shouldn't just have 3 against the Texans, but all things considered with how the offense was moving in that kind of 2-minute upbeat offense to be able to get points and go into the half and then get the ball back and then execute that way. I think that was a perfect segue into the half. So realistically, you got everything that you wanted from Trey in terms of the glimpses. We saw it all. You saw it all. And realistically, I came away more impressed with, okay, things weren't going well. He did throw an interception, but it never felt like he again buried his head or anything like that. The kid has a short memory and he continues to fire, and that's one of the things that you noticed immediately when you saw him play in the preseason, when you seen him in training camp as well. Is no matter he may miss a pass, he may throw a pick, but he's not going to stop firing, and that's the part that I was impressed with, the poise.
The poise was there and it was on point, and you could see, especially in that second half, with the 49ers able to score 20 points after only scoring 3 that entire first half, and those 3 points came at that last 2-minute drive like you spoke about. What were some of the things from both the scheme standpoint and vibe standpoint that you saw from Trey Lance, Kyle Shanahan in that first half, and what were some of the things that you took away, maybe you liked or you didn't like?
I just feel like it was a feeling out process for both of them. And again, I'll go back to it. Kyle was trying to figure out what he could call that Trey could execute successfully, and Trey was also trying to get his footing. And again, second start, he understands the magnitude of the game. It was moving a little fast for him, right? But I will tell you this: my favorite throw of the game came in the first half, and it was the designed misdirection play action, which the first read is George Kittle. 99% of the time, that ball goes to George Kittle. It's a 1 or 2 yard gain, and you live to get another down. What Trey did was saw it was there, saw it was covered, had a guy pumped, turned his hips, and then fired it to Sherfield at the sticks. That's the throw that jumped me out of my seat, where I was like, there it is right there, right? That is something that 99% of the time, which is not a problem, right? This is not me knocking Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not a problem. The throw to Kittle is the design read there. It is.
Right.
But he still saw that, said no, turned, and he still was able to throw it at the sticks with accuracy to Trent Sherfield.
With a dude in his face right as he turned his head around from after having his back to the line of scrimmage. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and then, on top of Kyle finding his footing, Trey finding his footing, when Elijah Mitchell starts to get rolling again because he has been rusty, that's when things really started to open up, because the running game for a large part of the first half was just, it was okay. Like, you were running the ball to show that you're going to run the ball and you're not going to go away from it. Wasn't exactly gashing them. But as Elijah Mitchell got more reps, because obviously he's been, out, it obviously started to get rolling. Again, reps work, and, he needed to get back in the flow. And when he starts to rip off run after run, then it opens things up more. And, I just, in the beginning, just kind of treading water, trying to figure out what it is. And then in the second half, boom, came out and hit him. But a lot of things fell into place for that to happen.
I agree. And I think your point about Elijah Mitchell getting the ball and it's kind of later in the game and kind of offense settling in, because we saw right away, we had a run to George Kittle. We had a run to Deebo Samuel. We had like 2 or 3 zone reads with Trey Lance. It just didn't feel like just, hey, we run the football. We hand it off to Elijah Mitchell. We have some of the best blockers, one of the best offensive lines in the league, and we'll let them work. Felt like Kyle was getting a little cute at times, which we've seen a tendency for him to do with Trey Lance. But it really did feel like once the offense settled down, again, the 2-minute drill leading into the half, everything just kind of settled in. You talked about the play action pass that he had in that first quarter. What did you see that pass where he tried to hit Aiyuk in that corner of the end zone. Aiyuk almost came down with the one hand, had a little PI action, but whatever. Beside the fact, talk to me a little bit about that throw and what you saw.
Man, if Patrick Mahomes would have completed that pass, that would have been top 10 on every single thing. And, when you look back at it, Brandon Ayuk's arm is hooked, and he's trying to get his other arm up. But the placement, the route, right? That route hasn't been called in a long time. That straight go? When has a go route been ever called?
Against single high, like when do we challenge man-on-man coverage? Like when do we ever challenge one-on-one, even when someone's covered? That's part of the beauty of challenging man-on-man is you can throw back shoulder, you can throw over the top, you can just, it's 50-50 for a reason. You can give your wide receiver a chance to go. So talk a little bit about what you saw from that aspect.
Beautifully placed throw. Again, challenging the corner, perfect shot. Obviously, it was incomplete, and they'll go in the book as an incomplete pass, but that's one of those throws that you just don't see. You haven't seen in a long time as a 49er fan. You just have not. With that sort of velocity at that ball placement in that tight window, right? Like, I mean, it's right past the pylon, and it's literally going to the other pylon. And if Brandon Aiyuk, I have little doubt that if Brandon Aiyuk was able to get his other arm up, he's able to bring that in for a spectacular touchdown. And again, one thing that I'll say is, you know what? That's an incompletion. But where are those attempts to try to draw a PI, to try to hit one of those big plays? It's just not in the arsenal. And for that to come out and show itself in game 2, and obviously everybody loves the Deebo Samuel pass, which we'll talk about, but that's what I'm talking about. You're getting the glimpses of, imagine when this kid gets fully acclimated. Imagine when things are full reps. He's had a lot of starts under his belt. Like, you start to see how explosive this offense can be. And I think that's really what you should have walked away from. Obviously, walked away with, I'm sorry. And obviously, everybody wants the result of the game. Obviously, it's a must win. You want to win the game. But for me, and I don't want this to come off wrong, I was evaluating Trey Lance, and the result really wouldn't have swung me one way or the other. And here's why.
Right.
There's a world where Trey Lance doesn't play well and the 49ers win. There's a world where Trey Lance plays well and the 49ers lose. So from an evaluation standpoint, I was just watching him more than anything. And the result had little to do with what I walked away with. Now, it was great that they came away with the win, and he was a large part of that. But for me, to see the opening jitters and then to see the glimpses, that throw, the Sherfield throw, the throw to Aiyuk over the middle, which everybody was like, well, I don't know if he can throw in the middle of the field like that. And then obviously the Deebo Samuel one, and then the throw down the seam to George Kittle. You're seeing the glimpses, and that's really what you wanted to see from Trey Lance. And I think that's what I walked away with most impressed by is man, it's start 2. And I get the opponent, but everybody told us the Texans, we need to worry about them because they just beat the Chargers. You can't have it both ways. You can't in one breath tell me that you need to worry about the Texans because they beat the Chargers and then say, well, it was just the Texans. No. Keep that same energy.
Hey, Justin Herbert's a young goat out there, man. He's up and coming. So
I mean, and the pass defense for the Texans is top 10. They're top 10 in getting takeaways as well too. The only thing that they are really susceptible to, at a large part, is the run. So again, it's strange for me to see people move the goalposts in terms of, well, it's the Texans. But last week you were telling us to not take the Texans lightly. It's, again, you can't have it both ways. So for me, you see the glimpses. Damn the opponent. Don't care about that. Those throws, I don't care who the opponent is. Those throws, some of those are not going to get knocked down. That throw to George Kittle, there wouldn't have been a defender there. Nothing like that. The Deebo Samuel throws on a rope, a 40-yard throw that the ball never left the screen. It was on a rope, straight.
Right.
And it wasn't overthrown, underthrown, anything like that. It was exactly where it needs to be. So again, you saw the glimpses, and that's what you should have walked away with.
It was fantastic. And we'll get into a little bit more here in a second. Big Des says, last time we beat LA, we out physical the line of scrimmage. Dogs like Deebo, Kittle live for this type of game. Watch out for Wilson to assist Mitch in the backfield 100%. And Big Des,
40 more runs.
We will definitely be touching on the Rams matchup, the preview, what that's going to look like. But let's stick right now for the Texans. But in fact, Jason, we have some media coming out from camp right now, or not camp, from practice of Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the football. So Thumbgate continues,
Thumb watch,
ladies and gentlemen, as my screen goes nuts. Let's see if we can get an accurate video of it. Wanted to see. So we got Jimmy Garoppolo. This is from Matt Barrows of The Athletic. There you go. You see Jimmy Garoppolo letting that thing rip to Kittle. Came out pretty nice, if you ask me. What do you think about that throw?
Yeah, I mean, when you hear what Jimmy Garoppolo said, that it almost feels like the web is coming out and like ripping apart when he throws the ball. That's impressive, man. Realistically, that's impressive. I mean, I don't know what percentage he's at right now, but look at that.
That's not bad.
Right.
That's not bad at all. That looks like someone who could play a game potentially.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's not what everybody wants to hear. But, the other thing is that, like we talked about, last week, a lot of people didn't like when I had this to say, but it's clear that if he's 100%, it's going to be Kyle. I mean, it's going to be Jimmy, right?
Oh, yeah.
But obviously he's not going to be 100%. So again, it boils down to, what does Kyle trust? Jimmy at 75, 80%, whatever it is, or 100% of Trey. And I think that's where he's at with it. Also, he's just tired of our shit more than anything. He doesn't want to hear about anymore. Like, he's just tired of all of us, man. Like he knows exactly what he did today by like his opening statement. I haven't made a decision. Don't ask me. And that's it. I'm not telling you. Like, I'm gonna reveal it right before the coin toss. Like type stuff. So it's like, it is what it is. It's up to Kyle, and there's really nothing we can do. We can give our opinions all we want, but there's nothing we can do. It's up to him, man.
Absolutely. And we'll touch on more of the Jimmy Trey Lance dilemma as we start to preview the Rams. But let's get back to the game against the Texans. Again, this was our second opportunity to see Trey Lance this year. Obviously, you and I got to watch him in training camp with our own eyes, and then to be able to see him against Arizona and then take 11 weeks off and then come out against the Texans. Obviously, we know it's a tale of two halves, but overall, what were some of the differences that you saw between his first start and his second start?
The playbook opened up a little bit more. The Jimmy gimmies were there, and the accuracy, right? And then the run plays. The run plays this time, they were not as designed. Like, they weren't the QB powers every time. But what I was impressed with was the moving of the pocket. Moving away from pressure, feeling the pressure and moving, and then getting a throw off from there. Everything was an improvement. Obviously, that finger was bothering him more than anybody knew from the Arizona game. And the accuracy came back in this game. It looked good. Throws on the run, off platform, switching your hips, down the field. Everything looked better. And if he's throwing the ball that way, then the running is just an added bonus. And it's not something that people may have assumed would be the crux of his production. That just means that now, if he needs to pick it up with his legs, he can. But if he's showing growth as a passer, then stay in that pocket, youngster. Don't take hits, anything like that. If you can make the plays and you can make the throws, do it like that. I understand everybody wants to do a threat thing, but the legs should be a last-ditch effort when everything's covered and you have to get the first down with your legs. Shouldn't be a first run thing. So for me, I was impressed. Hey, here's the pressure. I sense it. Moving to the right. Boom. We're gonna get the pass out. We're gonna hit. Oh, guy in my face. Pump him. Get it in the air. Turn it and turn it loose and hit Sherfield. All of those things were impressive. And when you think about it, how far he's come from that first start, it almost looked like a different quarterback. It really did. And it makes you wonder, if Trey Lance was 100% in that Arizona game, what are we looking at? So,
dude, it makes me wonder. Obviously, the question that we'll ask for the end of time, and it's something that we're not going to dive into, but what does Trey Lance look like if he starts week 1 and has an entire year to develop? What does he look like at that point? But
that's a what if. That's a what if. That's a what if multiverse series.
We'll keep that for the end of the year review episode. We'll touch on it then.
That's off-season content. Like, what if? Like, we just play the season out. Like, what if? Like, the whole other way. Like,
what if this happens here? Boom, boom, boom. Yep, exactly.
What if the Niners draft Javonte Williams and not Trey Sermon? What if?
Ooh, what if the 49ers draft Azeez Ojulari instead of Aaron Banks? Ooh.
What if?
What if? It's going to be a fun offseason, that's for sure. Chris Royal having some fun, says Jimmy saw Trey ball out in the second half and he decided to start popping some ibuprofen to speed things along. Hey, at the end of the day, Jimmy Garoppolo's a competitor. You don't like him, you like him. It doesn't really matter. The dude, like Jason said before, he is tough, man. He's going to do everything he can to get on the field under normal circumstances. So,
right.
That being said, I want to talk about. We'll probably be bouncing back and forth between Trey Lance and things like that, but I do want to talk about Elijah Mitchell because, for me personally, that was the best game that Elijah Mitchell has had all year. It's the most complete he's looked, in my opinion, all year. Because of the vision and things like that. But what did you see from Elijah Mitchell coming away with 119 yards on 21 carries? Again, 5.7 a clip. We talked about it. We didn't really get going that much in the first half. So talk to me a little bit about Elijah Mitchell and what you took away from that.
Just a little bit shocked that Jeff Wilson didn't even get a touch.
Not a single touch.
Not a touch. And that I don't know, man. I think that kind of pokes holes in my logic that Kyle just isn't trying to turn this over to a workhorse, right? Because, all right, it's one thing for Jeff Wilson to, be ineffective or be working his way back from an injury. But Jeff Wilson has come on the last few weeks. And this is Elijah Mitchell's first game back. So I expected somewhere of 12 to 15, not 21. And then Debo's the other guy. So, again, Elijah Mitchell, he is the workhorse at this point. And still, Kyle wants Debo to get the ball in the backfield because he's missing that Raheem Mostert home run threat. And that's exactly what Debo brings, right? If you look at Debo's games, many of them have that big, long run for a touchdown, but then the rest of them are like 2 yards, 1 yard, 2 yards, right? He's missing that home run guy, right? From like 20, 30 out or even, further out. But for Elijah Mitchell to come back in this game with the way that Jeff Wilson was playing, I think it speaks to just how much Kyle's just like, man, you know what? We're going to ride the rook, man. And I think it does poke holes in my logic of Kyle is doing this out of necessity because Jeff Wilson's been playing well. And Jeff Wilson, if he would have taken 7 or 8 carries, he would have been largely effective. And he ran the ball 37 times. Jeff Wilson didn't get 1 carry? Man. No, but that just goes to speak out.
George Kittle got a carry.
Right. It goes to speak to how much he trusts Elijah Mitchell, and for good reason, because he's having an amazing year, rookie record for rushing yards as a 49er. And, who knows? Maybe Kyle Shanahan was already looking ahead saying, well, if we're going to run it 37 times this week, next week, regardless of the quarterback, we're going to run that thing 40-something times because we want to keep that offense on the field, off the field. And remember, in that Rams game, a lot of what Wilson was doing was lining up as a tight end and running across and blocking at certain points, right? So maybe keeping him fresh. And I even saw him do that in this game as well, too. So who knows if it's a combination of that. But for me, it just speaks to, man, Kyle really, really trusts Elijah Mitchell, man. He really, really wants to turn this thing over to him. So that really pokes holes in my logic.
I agree. And who knows? You know how Kyle is. Maybe it could be a setup because you did indicate a tell when Jeff Wilson is on the field and has been on the field when Elijah Mitchell is healthy. They actually use him as a blocker quite a bit. They use him as a lead blocker. They put him in motion. They'll run that little power scheme and they'll have him as a lead blocker. So who knows? Maybe that's a tell. McVay's been watching. He's going to pick up on. Maybe Kyle's going to run a counter off that. Hit Hefe in the flat or something. Who knows? We'll see how that continues to develop, but I agree. It was interesting to see that Jeff Wilson didn't get a single carry, but Elijah Mitchell came away with the lion's share at 5.7 a clip in his first game back after injury. That's pretty good.
And in the long run, he kind of was like, you can see he just because if that was a few weeks back, Elijah, that's a crib call.
Oh, 100%. Even Trent Williams thought it was a crib call. He threw his hands up about 10 yards away. He's like, oh, he's gone. And I'm like, maybe not.
That's all right. He came back into the flow, though.
He was gassed a little bit. Gassed. Mike says, do we see more Debo inside runs out of the gun like last time we played LA? And what concept was it? To me, it looked like zone split counter, not like the traditional zone split we typically see. Do you have any particular thoughts on that?
No, the one thing I noticed, though, is on those jet sweeps now, if you notice, because Jimmy was doing it first where he's turning back this way, right? Like he's not coming around this way to hand it to him. So I think that they're creating angles in a different way now where,
Yes.
because even Lance did it. This is their way to create an angle where he gets it here. And by the time he hits around, he's already turning by the time he hits Trey, as opposed to waiting for the ball to get here and then cutting. So they're trying to find creative ways to get him to either see the cutback lane or open up an extra hole for him. So that's the one thing that I noticed. So I don't really think that answers this question, but that was something that I had noticed Jimmy doing. And I'm like, well, like, what are they trying to get to? And then I saw Trey do it. And then when I watched the all 22, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what they're trying to do. Like he's trying to get him already to turn that corner as soon as he gets around Lance, as opposed to handing it to him and then getting him to turn, because you want to get him on that cutback lane because they're trying to open it up with those zone blocks to open up the cutback lane for him.
Absolutely. And when it comes to blocking, it's about leverage. So if you can change the point and the angle, like I've seen plays from Kyle Shanahan like I've never seen before, where it's a pitch inside run. It looks like an outside pitch, but they cut it inside. They do all different kinds of things like that constantly. And I think what you see come of that is the Elijah Mitchell touchdown that they had in the red zone from Trey Lance, because it looked like it was going to be a zone left, mid-zone left. And they were able to boo out of it and just find Elijah Mitchell in the flat. Being able to modify the angles of the handoff, it makes, I think it keeps the linebackers and safeties guessing. And then they're always trying to cheat, right? So if you get them cheating one direction, you can really take advantage of that. So with all the different styles and angles that they use, inside, outside, I think it's going to continue to evolve. And I think that particular play where Elijah Mitchell scored was kind of a little nuance off of that. But that is a good question, Mike.
Yeah, very good question.
Let's see here. Talk to me a bit about Brandon Aiyuk, 94 yards, 4 receptions. Could even had a little bit of bigger day. But what did you see from Brandon Aiyuk yesterday?
The future.
Or not yesterday, but
yeah, the future. That's your glimpse of the guy that's about to be unlocked. That go route in the end zone. Appreciate you, Jesse. The go route that's not in the bag right now. That's for the future. And again, the yak stuff is still there, right? The middle of the field throw, and he's weaving through people, and it's just where
you're gonna have to
Jesse
hit the link.
I'm trying to remember, man. I think I bought it from Nike.com. Nike cut the check, by the way. I think I got it from Nike.com. It's a pullover it's a quarter zip pullover. And it's like a windbreaker. And here, look, I'll show it back real quick too.
Oh,
yeah. So
hey, that is sick though.
I haven't worn it in a while, so I was looking for something different. I've been a little excited about 49ers football, but I hope that helps, Jesse. I think I got it from Nike.com, bro. So but you're seeing the glimpses of what Brandon Aiyuk is going to be when this offense turns into what it's supposed to with Trey Lance under center. Like I said, that go route, that's not there. The throw over the middle of the field, if Trey Lance is developing that, and if you look at that throw chart that Next Gen Stats has put up, you look at that throw chart and you compare it to where it is, you see the stark difference between the two quarterbacks and the way that they're going to play and the way that things are going to go. And if Trey finds a way to master those quick timing over the middle throws, it's game over, because all those other throws will certainly be in the arsenal. So it's really good to see Brandon Aiyuk get involved. And him and Lance worked out all offseason, right? And there's rapport there. You're seeing it develop. Not to say that Lance and Jimmy, don't have rapport. I'm just saying it's clear that when Lance was working out, it was Brandon Aiyuk that went with him. And they worked on a lot of things. And we didn't really get to see it week 1 because whatever was going on with Brandon Aiyuk and his situation, he did have that one-handed amazing catch for extra yards. But I think this Texans game is going to give you a glimpse of what to expect next year. And, I know this isn't a fantasy football show, but I would be trying to send offers everywhere for Brandon Aiyuk right now and try to gobble up all those stonks, man, because he's going to be a wide receiver 1 next year with Deebo Samuel.
Would you agree that Trey Lance's arm talent I kept calling it stones. Like I saw the kid making throws that, like, you have to have a level of confidence in your arm to just let that go in the first place. that kind of feels like it fits Brandon Aiyuk's skill set as a downfield threat. He can do it across the middle. He can do it near the line of scrimmage, short to intermediate, deep. Do you feel like, and you just said it, he's going to be potentially wide receiver 1 next year, but do you think those two fit each other perfectly, even more so than what Debo is? I mean, Debo's, again, he's a Swiss Army knife, but in regards to kind of prototypical wide receiver 1, do you think there's a natural fit there?
I think there is, and here's the nuances of route running and the different styles that are the part that I think gets lost on certain people, right? It's like, well, why can't Jimmy Garoppolo get the ball to Brandon Aiyuk? Well, Brandon Aiyuk probably runs routes a little bit different, right? Jimmy Garoppolo is a very much timing guy, right? You got to be very precise. And Brandon Aiyuk's a great route runner, but he seems to freestyle a little bit at the top of his routes, and he moves a little bit differently. With Debo, it's a slant, and he's precisely where he needs to be, and that's precision. There's different ways to win as a receiver, and that's the beauty part. This is why I love wide receivers and why I will never stop scouting them, watching them. My favorite players are wide receivers because guys win in different ways. Debo Samuel wins because he is a tactician in terms of getting to the spot before you. And when he gets the ball in his hands, then good luck. Brandon Aiyuk kind of does a little bit more freestyling in terms of, okay, the route is a post, but I'm going to give you this little shimmy at the top. And you also have to be able to have the arm talent to, okay, it's not the timing that I want, but I have the arm strength to zip it in there, right to you, because my arm has that in there, right? So I think that when people say, well, why aren't Jimmy and him on the same page? It's just that they may not stack together in terms of their skill sets. And that's the part that maybe you saw a little bit this past week in terms of why Lance and Aiyuk could be so formidable in terms of skill sets lining up.
Absolutely. And we got a little bit of some news that just dropped. Diamador Lenore added to the reserve COVID list. So beware. I mean,
this is why every day that it happens is like, come on, man, like another day, right? So like it's Wednesday. No, here's the thing. Seriously, it's Wednesday, and you have until Sunday. Like you have all the way up until like Sunday to get cleared, right? But what if somebody tests on Friday? Right? That's the problem, right? Like it's like,
a bunch of people test on Friday.
Right. So we just got to knock on wood and just keep going, I guess.
Absolutely. So it is something to monitor. Obviously, there's a bit of obviously Ambry Thomas was added earlier today. Now it's Diamador Lenore. We already have a laundry list of guys on there, but to Jason's point, it is going to be something that's going to become a little bit more concerning if it's happening later on in the week, because they only have so many days to clear based on the new protocol rules. I believe it's 5 days to clear, correct?
Yes, 5 days. And for a little bit of clarity, they don't have to test out for 5 days, right? The NFL is pretty much doing the whole see no evil, hear no evil, right? If you're not coughing or anything, then you're not sick, you're good to go. Get out there.
They need to make their money. So basically, if you can play and you're not
the NFL's
affected,
like, you're not stopping this train. You're not stopping this train, bro. If you're not coughing, you don't have a fever.
They should have said, we're just going to change the rules because this isn't working and we're going to have to cancel games, and that's not what we want. So
rub some dirt on it and get out there, kid. You don't have a you don't have a cough. You don't have a fever. You don't have a sore throat. Get out there.
Hey, it's football. They're used to it, man. Play through injury, play through sickness. It's the flu game, whatever it is. Hey, but hopefully everything is figured out. Everyone's okay. And obviously it clears up. And again, to the point that Jason made, no late ads is what we're looking for. We're still kind of okay up until this point. But hopefully things will progress in the right direction.
The secondary room is getting ravaged, though, right? And it's just there's like one or two. There's one more name that it cannot happen, and it cannot. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not speaking.
Don't
into
say
existence. It can't happen. It can't happen. Can't happen this game.
No, it can't. It absolutely cannot. Especially with Cooper Kupp having the year that he's having. We need as many reinforcements on the back end as possible. But we'll absolutely get into. Oh, damn it, Jason. Maybe we call Greg Maben back from the 2017 Green Bay game, too.
I was going to wear my Brian Allen jersey today, but then I was sure that nobody was going to get the joke.
You got roasted for that one.
Uh,
Let's see. Um, so overall, though, I guess with Kyle Shanahan and it comes to Trey Lance, how do you see the offense moving forward in the future? Let's say potentially it is Trey Lance starting against the Rams. Obviously, it looks to be up in the air, but would you see more of an offense that resembles the second half unit or the first half unit?
Probably the second half unit because they're probably going to run the ball 35, 40 times again, right? And that's how
Right.
they beat them the last time. And if you're worried about what Trey Lance can execute, then you already have the sauce on how to beat Raheem Morris in that defense. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Brad, I saw you talking earlier about 49er fans are overly confident and everything about owning the Rams. And I wouldn't necessarily say that they own them. It's more about they have the formula on how to beat them and how to bully them. And if they can impose their will running the ball and that defense can stay off the field and you start to put the Rams in a spot where they can't get into those heavy sets, they can't run the ball, they can't give you the element of surprise, and you know they're going to throw, it plays right into the 49ers' hands in terms of secondary and what everything. And the other thing is, D'Amico Ryans every single game is striding forward, every single game, every game.
Oh,
And right now, with the way that this pass rush is going, right now, Arden Key, Jordan Willis, Omenihu, all these guys now contributing. Eric Armstead had his best game in terms of run defense as well, too. DJ Jones is a baller right now. The pass rush is lining up in the right direction. So it all depends on what the 49ers can do on offense. If they can execute this offense at the level that they did, where it's run, 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 and if you need a third down, you get that clutch third down. But if they come out of the gate with one of those 10-minute, 11-minute drives, then it starts to look like, okay, now you're in a great spot and you're not even asking your rookie to do too much. When you know that in certain spots he can do a little bit more, regardless if this is going to be his third start, because you saw the little bit more. But if the 49ers execute their offense similarly to what they did in that Rams game, which caught us all off guard, a lot of us were like, man, well, we're about to get whipped on TV after, losing to Colt McCoy and everything. But I think that it all plays off of that. And the 49ers have the formula on how to beat them. And all they have to do is stick to that formula. If they can execute it, then they put themselves in a very good spot. I don't care if this game was played on Mars and it's going to be played at Levi South. They're going to be in a good spot to win. So,
absolutely. Talk to me a little. Let's switch gears a little bit to the defensive side. You brought him up, D'Amico Ryans. What has he been this year? What was he? His impact to the Texans games. Obviously, they're 4-12. They don't have a ton of star power on the offensive side. Brandon Cooks severely underrated, guys like that. But what has D'Amico Ryans meant to this team this year?
can we give him a nickname? Can we start it now here?
Sure,
The Chameleon.
Oh,
Week to week,
the Chameleon.
week to week, skill position, team to team. He has a plan to stop things, and it's never the same thing over and over. It's always very specific to the team. It's very specific to where they can hurt you and how to cover up where you're weak. Cover up where you're weak, and then also beat them in spots. And every week he's finding different ways to beat teams. And that portion is the part that gets me super excited about him, right? Because it's not like he's just like, man, rush 4, everybody dropping the coverage. He's mixing things up, and it's all specific to the team. It's no cookie cutter way to stop everybody in this league. So you have to be able to make adjustments week to week. Game planning, what D'Amico Ryans is doing is incredible. The Bengals game, he held them off for as long as he could. Obviously, you can only hold talent off for as long as you can, right? Like Jamar Chase is about to break every record that a rookie ever had, and he's offensive rookie of the year. It's done, right? But every week he surprises me, and I get it, right? It's the Texans, right? But at the same time, you still have to know the strengths of the opponent and know how to beat them. And D'Amico Ryans is doing that right now. And it's just every week he seems to be stacking his better games. And look what he's doing for Ambry Thomas right now. Ambry Thomas keeps stacking his better games at this point. And I think the way that he's riding for his guys, Azeez Al-Shaair's step up, the way that Ambry's been playing, the way that he's been able to have this team a top 10 defense with this secondary, with the corners specifically, not the secondary, with the corners specifically, is nothing short of a marvel at this point. So, man, D'Amico Ryans, the chameleon. You heard it here first.
The Chameleon. I like that. Obviously, he has been getting guys to play really well. But we even saw guys like Marcel Harris, a converted safety, now going to linebacker. Obviously, that was his position group before being promoted to DC. It just feels like he not only does he have a sense for scheme, but he has a sense for development and putting guys in the right spot to be successful. What did you see from the linebackers against the Texans? Fred Warner, Marcel Harris. I think, what did Fred Warner say? I think he spoke very confidently about himself today, which I think was something that was a little bit refreshing from my perspective, because obviously he struggled a little bit in this year. Earlier in the year, Azeez Al-Shaair was having just a phenomenal year, probably the best linebacker on the team before he went down. But Fred Warner said this is the best that he's felt and played all year. What do you think about Fred Warner and Marcel Harris together against the Texans?
Great news. I mean, it couldn't have come at a better time at this point because it doesn't look like Azeez is going to play in this game. And hopefully, once the 49ers move on, yes, let's go there. I don't want to be no negative vibes at all. Once they move on, then he can come back and this team could become more healthy again. It's about getting in the dance and being healthy. And Marcel Harris is such a nice thing to fall back on because he has experience in the scheme. And I always felt that he was better suited to play closer to the line as opposed to being a safety back there. Some of the things that he struggled with were the angles that he took on tackles at times, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Right now, him being able to be there, he doesn't have time to really come down from far, and he can just play fast. And that interception was really good, and you could see the safety ball skills right there from that. That's mm-hmm. what's there. So it's a very nice thing to fall back on. And again, there's positionless football on one side of the ball, and there's also positionless football on the other side of the ball, because in a pinch, Marcel Harris could play safety. In a pinch, he can play linebacker. It's a beautiful thing to have. But if Fred Warner feels better and he's playing better and he's starting to play like that guy that we wanted him to be, especially in this game, the 49ers could use one of those all-pro Fred games this week. Absolutely. So it's good to hear him say that. And I thought he had a great game as well, too. Stacked on top of the Atlanta game. I thought that was one of his better games as well, too. Obviously the Tennessee game went the way that it did. But if he feels like he's ascending, it's at the perfect time. And we could definitely use one of those big all-pro Fred games this week.
Absolutely, because isn't Cam Akers slated to return? Obviously, he had tons of high hopes for the running back. I believe he ruptured his Achilles in the offseason, and he's already back. And he's
the $1 million man, bro.
Guys like that are built different. We understand athletes heal at a much faster rate than us normal people. But those two are going to be imperative in having to stop the balanced attack of the Rams beating you with Stafford and then beating you with Cam Akers, right? They're going to have to be doing it all.
Well, I want to say this. I expect Cam Akers may play a little in this one, but Sony Michel has been balling. And he looks like the guy that a lot of people thought he was going to be coming out of Georgia. And a lot of that has to do with what the Rams have done in terms of their philosophy shift, which they do it every year, basically. Whether it's switching from 12 to 21 personnel, usually they come out on fire. They start lighting people up. Things kind of get a little murky in terms of their production. And then McVay shifts to something else and they get a little bit more back on track. What changed here was they started off hot. Things started to go a little different, right? Stafford wasn't playing as well. And then they moved to this big, heavy personnel with a lot more tight ends. And then they unleashed Sony Michel. And Sony Michel is a perfect fit for them. One cut guy, get into the hole and go. And he looks like that guy that everybody else thought that he would be when he was in New England. So, right. Yeah, Cam Akers is going to play in this game, but Sony Michel has been playing very well. The reason that the Rams were behind the 8 ball against Baltimore was Matthew Stafford leads the league in pick sixes. And I don't know what – I don't understand. I don't understand how he makes some of these throws where it's just like, my God, did you see that? And then he'll make a throw and you're like, my God, did you see that? What was that? Like, what were you looking at, dude? It's insane to me that he has these – spikes, and a lot of that was masked by the fact that Lamar didn't play, and if Lamar plays in that game, they probably run away with that game because for a large portion of it, they weren't playing very well. And Sean McVay is doing a lot to get Odell Beckham involved and running a lot of plays for him. May not be the guy that we remember with the Giants, but he's certainly not washed like I heard early on in the season at all. So Sony Michel is the part that the 49ers run defense has been great. But I think Sony Michel deserves a greater deal of credit. And I also do think that Sean McVay, while he may not be a great in-game adjuster, that's always been a knock on him. He always finds a way halfway through the season to switch his game plan up to something different to maximize the success. So I'll give him that.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good transition into kind of previewing the Rams game and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, you talked about it earlier. I kind of tweeted something about like the way people are talking about this game. Now I get it, we're fans, like, or media, and how much impact do we really have to the overall outcome of a game or anything like that. But there's this weird sense that I'm a weird vibe guy. I put a lot of weight into vibe, and I just get this sense, and as also a guy who makes lots of memes and has been cold taked for memes, it feels like we're setting ourselves up to get cold taked again. But it's just not our fan base. It's national media. It's the ownage of the Rams. It's this narrative that's being pushed. We've seen it time and time again. Oh, the 49ers are supposed to take care of Seattle. Well, we're supposed to go and take care of the backup Cardinals, all those kinds of things. So the narratives. And then the energy is like off. Do you have any concerns about the actual game itself? Not necessarily the media talk or anything, but what is your confidence level from an on-the-field standpoint going into this game in a must-win, gotta have it in and get in, win and get in, or potentially lose and bounce out? What are you feeling about all that?
Well, I'm picking the 49ers, but it's not some sort of wash away game, right? Like that initial Rams game, I think that's a one-off. And if you want to look at, again, I literally just told you that the 49ers have the formula, but the Rams are fighting for the division, so they're not going to lay down. And the Rams are tired of hearing this, that they can't beat the 49ers. They can't beat the 49ers. And you know how hard it is to just keep sweeping teams? You know how hard that is? It's not that it's impossible. It's just not likely. We've seen instances where regimes come and go, players come and go. You just can't beat them. For example, sorry, guys, San Francisco 49ers couldn't beat the Seattle Seahawks for a long time, right? But at the same time, right now, this game, the 49ers have everything that they need to win. But it's not some walk away, oh, the 49ers are going to wash the Rams. I don't think anybody feels like that. I think a lot of the confidence that 49ers fans have is that the 49ers have a game plan that can dominate the Rams. And the Rams, let's also keep it a buck, and not just with the 49ers. They shy away from getting out physical. Like when you start to punch them in the mouth, they don't bounce back. And that's what the 49ers do. And that's what the 49ers are every week going to do to you. I believe it was Chris Carter who said on Good Morning Football, you can practice all you want. You can be in shells. He was like, but the way the 49ers play is different. And he was like, and you're not ready for that week to week. Now, they can do that, right? Don't turn the ball over. Control time of possession. That's a formula that can beat many teams. Mm-hmm. But I think the Rams shy away from when things are not going their way. It can snowball a little bit on them. And that was before Matthew Stafford got here. And we saw it in that Monday Night Football game where it started bad. Matthew Stafford throws an arm punt, then throws a pick six, and things start to feel like, okay, they don't have a shot to get back in this thing at all. And they kind of lay down a little bit. That's the thing. So the 49ers have to impose their will. In terms of winning the game, yes, I think they're going to win the game. But I don't think it's going to be as easy as the Monday night game. I think that we're going to get one of those like down to the wire type games. And if the 49ers execute the way that they can and the way that they should, then they should win this game. Now, a lot of that is dependent on who's going to be there in the secondary as well, too. Not trying to hedge my bet or anything like that, but don't tell me that you're going to feel fine with Josh Norman and who's the other guy? Because everybody else is on there. Like literally, it'll be a practice. Denard, Denise, what is his name? Darquez Denard. Yeah, I'm sorry. Him and a bunch of guys that, God forbid Jimmy Ward misses this game. God forbid. Then things become a little bit different, right? Because you saw the immediate impact that Jimmy Ward had in this game. And Jimmy Ward's the one who set all this off in the offseason. He was like, Matthew Stafford went over there. He was like, we don't care. I don't care. Same old Rams. He wasn't lying.
Same old Stafford.
Right, but that's when Jimmy's in the building. So again, the 49ers, if they're at full health and they get everybody back and everybody's allowed to play, then you feel better about it. But a lot of that hinges on that. And they still have the formula to get it done. So again, fans can do whatever they want, Brad. They can say whatever they want. The problem is if you gas yourself up for a win and they lose, then you set yourself up for disappointment, and you need to be ready for that. That's it. That's it.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing. I mean, no 49er fan is going into this game saying, they're going to lose, man. I don't think they're going to win, right? Everybody has that faith that their team's going to pull it out. But there are people who have faith that the 49ers are going to pull it out. And if they lose, they won't say, man, we blew it, or, I'm disappointed. It's one of the outcomes. It's just one of them, but if you're sitting there convincing yourself, we're going to thrash the Rams and it's a done deal and we own them, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment. So, set your expectations accordingly, but also set your reactions accordingly. And I think that that's really what I'm talking about when it comes to this.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. What have you seen from, I think it started with the Titans, and then we saw the Texans copy it. I imagine we're going to see something similar from the Rams, especially if the 49ers are hurting in the secondary. The good old max protect on Nick, Bosa, and the rest of that defensive line, because what we have seen is the defensive line has been really rounding into shape. Arden Key came away with the sack against the Texans. Jordan Willis came away with the sack against the Texans. Eric Armstead made some pretty solid plays up the middle. And what we saw from the Tennessee Titans is they said, you know what? We're just going to max protect. We're going to keep 6, 7 in to block 4, block 5. And we're just going to wait for our guys to get open, and we're going to beat you on the back end. Is that something that you're nervous about? Is that something like you feel like the Titans maybe kind of showed a little bit of a weakness that D'Amico Ryans could potentially have to get pretty darn creative to kind of overcome? Because if you imagine giving Stafford all the time in the world to throw, even if he only has 2 options to throw it to, if he has 5 seconds to throw, he could potentially find anyone get open.
I think that strategy would only work in specific situations. Like if the 49ers are running away with the game, like that Tennessee game, if the 49ers are up 21-0 and they wanted to run that max protect stuff or whatever, they wouldn't have been able to get it done. But there was still the threat of the ground game a little bit, right? Like you still, because the game was so close, the Titans could at least threaten you by saying, we're going to run the ball at least one or 2 times here, right? If the Rams are in a close game, then that concerns me a little bit more, right? Because then you can still do those heavy formations that I was talking about that the Rams have been doing, which essentially could look like max protect, but you would have the numbers to run the ball as well on the back end. And then now that brings linebackers up. Now that brings people up. And now you can take shots over the head now, right? Van Jefferson is their deep threat. And he's a guy who's come on a little bit lately. So I think it's specific to the situation. If the 49ers are ahead by a bunch, then run all that max protect you want with no chance of the run and try to throw yourself back in the game and everybody play their keys and they should be fine. But that game was way too close where guys were still trying to cheat to the run a little bit and they still weren't able to be back in position, even if it was 7-on-2, 7-on-3, right? The same thing is you're still at least have that in the back of your mind that, hey, this could be a handoff or something like that. Or, hey, this could be a screen or something like that. Like it's specific to the situation. If the 49ers in that Titans game go up, then you can throw the run out of there and they become super predictable. But if this game is close and that's what they want to run, sure, it's a concern. But you have to hope that D'Amico Ryans has seen it and run with it a little bit more, and he understands that. But again, I would love it for the secondary to be at full strength because you need all of those guys to be smart. You need all of them to play their keys. And a lot of the guys will tell you in Tennessee, they missed some assignments, especially on third down. Right? Like on third down, that's something that, obviously people were torching, but you need those guys to be smart. And especially with somebody like Cooper Kupp, he's not somebody who is like this burn you down the field, amazing route runner. He's smart and he understands coverages. I don't know if anybody saw I believe it was after the Jacksonville game where, a reporter comes up, asks a very simple question about what he saw on the touchdown pass. And he said, well, I knew they were doing fire zone and 2 was coming down over here. So I knew that if I got by 3, I moved up there and it gave me that whole shot. Like the guy understands coverages. He's one of the smartest guys on the field. So 1, he's a very good route runner for sure. But 2, he's very, very smart and understands coverages and knows where to sit routes, knows where the coverage,
knows how to manipulate the coverage.
Right. And the thing is every zone has a place for you to go with the ball. You can't cover everybody. You can't cover everywhere. That's why it's a zone. he'll know exactly where to go. So that's really something that's a bit of a concern, but you just have to hope that D'Amico Ryans has a plan for it this time.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a fun chess match. It really does feel like it's going to come down to coaching, as it kind of seemingly always does in this matchup. Kyle Shanahan for Sean McVay. You had what's his name, Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football talking about dunking his head in the toilet and giving a little swirlies and all that stuff because the 49ers own him. Do you think Sean McVay is going to come out with a vengeance to try to tear down this team? So I think part of the talking points that I've heard from fans, obviously running my social accounts, is, oh, well, they're already in the playoffs. Does it really matter? Like, are they going to rest guys? What if you had to put yourself in Sean McVay's shoes? How would you be preparing your team to face the 49ers?
He's tired of it. How could he not be?
I swear they're all tired of it.
He's tired of it, and he has a chance to win the NFC West. That means something. So you have two things at stake here. Win, and you win the division. And win, and you beat Big Brother, right? My brother used to whip my ass in Madden all the time. And guess what? I would keep playing, and I would try different things, and it wouldn't work. When I broke through, that was it. He quit. In 04, he quit. He was like, I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to play anymore. I'm retiring. I was like, well, you retire with the L, and you go away. Same similar thing, right? Like Kyle Shanahan, when he plays Madden with Sean McVay, he's like, hey, bro, I'm running to the right. Come meet me here. Up, can't stop it. Hey, I'm going to run that play again. Up, can't stop it, right? So Sean McVay's got that whole mindset, right? Like, Mom, he's doing it again. Mom, tell him to stop.
Mom, tell him to stop.
Mom, please, I want to win. No, but seriously, division at stake, Rams-Niners thing, he's sick of hearing it. The Rams are sick of hearing it. So, yeah, they're definitely going to come out and they're going to give their best shot, man. And especially when you talk about, throw away the whole Rams-Niners thing and who owns who. The division's on the line. And they've got to execute to win it.
This is exactly what I was thinking of. Ma, meatloaf!
Ma! Meatloaf! You want some? I bet you did. Hey, Ma! No. I live here with my mom.
Oh my goodness. So obviously huge stakes at hand. Here, it is a playoff game. The players have said this out their own mouths. This is a playoff game. I think we can all agree it's a playoff game. I think we can all kind of wrap our heads around the fact that the Rams are treating this like a playoff game. So nothing is going to be taken lightly. We talked about maybe coming back to this conversation a little bit earlier, but if you were a betting man, Jason, who's starting quarterback this week?
Man,
I'm putting you on the spot, my guy.
I wish you didn't show me that throw that Jimmy Garoppolo had right there, because this would be so much
I know
easier,
we would have felt a lot better.
I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo cursing, talking about it feels like the web on his thumb is breaking off, and then you show me those throws that look like regular Jimmy Garoppolo throws.
Yep.
All right, screw it. Betting man, because I never win bets or anything like that lately. Like, I can't hit a parlay to save my life. Trey Lance, man. Trey Lance.
Ooh, I like it.
I think that you're gonna watch Jimmy Garoppolo throw the ball, and it's really just gonna come down to what Kyle feels more comfortable with. And if he feels more comfortable with Jimmy at 75, 80%, that's gonna be a decision that's gonna be dissected and talked about and debated all offseason if this game doesn't go the way that we think it will. So I'm gonna say Trey Lance just because you want to have the guy that can throw the ball, can really move the ball with the realistically, but it's just knowing Kyle and the way that Kyle's been trying to do everything he can to get Jimmy Garoppolo on the field. Like, he's not playing mind games with the Texans. That wasn't mind games. They were going to run the ball as many times as they did both ways. And Trey Lance offers a little bit more down the field, clearly. So, there's no advantage to that. So here, it boils down to, well, I've beaten this Rams team every time, basically, with Jimmy Garoppolo and Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
Can I get it done and still execute this offense that way? So, but I'll bet Trey Lance, and I'm gonna get cold take for it. So,
Cash the God agrees. He says Trey action. I mean, since it's a 50-50 odd, one of us will win. I guess.
Until it's Sudfeld. I can't wait for Saturday. Nate Sudfeld starting. I'll just be like, well,
Schefter bomb. We instantly hop on live. Oh my gosh, breaking news.
I would get on live. I would get on live and just open a wine bottle and just down it, like for the whole time. And that would be the end of the live. I would just put it down and just be like, and sign off and just get. I would not say a word.
That's it. You just open up the wine bottle and dip out. That's it. So I mean, it does kind of look like it is trending towards a Jimmy Garoppolo start if he's healthy, if he can rip it, if he can grip it and throw that thing, in which we saw today again. But he talked about just throwing yesterday, being sore today. We'll figure it out. This could all be gamesmanship, making them, see one way, show the other, but it does kind of feel like it's trending towards Jimmy. But I don't think that's necessarily a terrible thing. Because, like you said, Jimmy Garoppolo has beat the Rams on many occasions, including this year. It's not going to be unfamiliar territory for him. Who knows? Maybe he's got a little bit of extra motivation, too, after seeing after seeing the reception that Trey Lance got. Because let's keep it a buck. These dudes are alphas, so they're going to compete. They might be boys, they might be good, and they might be whatever, but at the end of the day, Jimmy wants a job. So who knows?
And also, Brad, if you and I, right, were linemen, and I was the skinniest lineman who ever played, right? Like it's Pick Mullins, the skinniest lineman that ever played, right? Yeah, I want to play, but if you take the job from me, I'm gonna root for you, right? Like that's how it is. The other thing is too. The one thing I want to point out is. It's Wednesday. Jimmy's limited today. If Jimmy's limited tomorrow and Trey's taking all of the first team reps, what game plan have you installed? Right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's not going to be the same game plan entirely because there's more design runs for Lance. There's deeper shots that you can take with Lance and different things. And then if you get to Friday and Jimmy's limited and Trey's taking all the first team reps, for me, that feels like you've installed an entire game plan for Trey Lance. And I don't think you can just say, well, here's the game plan either way for both of you guys. You're going to have as many runs, but your passes are going to look drastically different. You're going to know what you can call and what you can't call. You can't call that go route with Jimmy Garoppolo. You can't call that deep over, which was like the second or third option on that throw. Like, that's the thing that kind of it doesn't worry me because obviously Kyle knows better than me. But I'm confused about it a little bit. Is Jimmy Garoppolo the type of guy who can't take first team reps and be in on the game planning and just be limited and go? Because that could be Aaron Rodgers. That could be Patrick Mahomes, right? Those guys don't need to practice. They don't need to practice. Give them the game plan and let them go. But is Jimmy Garoppolo like that? I don't know.
Could be. But we're going to find out. And it's going to be a very interesting situation. Obviously, a limited participant today does have him trending in the right direction. Obviously, if he was limited on Friday, we would say, oh, now there's a chance that he could play. And that would be with no practice on a Wednesday, on a Thursday. The trends that we've seen, as long as you can at least get one limited practice a week, it has you trending in the right direction. So we're going to see how it stacks. We're going to see what kind of participation Jimmy Garoppolo will have tomorrow. But I think one of the things that was interesting to watch was they were in line of starter. So it was Jimmy who started that drill, then it was Trey, and then it was Sudfeld. So kind of has you kind of believing could be Jimmy Garoppolo. But what we are going to find out. Mauricio with the fire banger super chat. We appreciate you, my guy. He says, hi, guys, big fan. Why didn't Diamador Lenore progress through the season enough to play any snaps? Is it because they only want him at the slot? You want to attack this one first?
Yeah, I think it probably is that more than anything. And that's probably the most simple answer in terms of that. And a lot of people kind of talk themselves into, Lenore's an outside corner because week one, they didn't throw the ball at him. And that that Lions wide receiver group wasn't exactly formidable. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't the guy that he is now, which is a stud and a baller because he played amazing down the stretch.
He's draft crush right there.
So good. He almost won me a championship until Najee Harris ran that last touchdown, and that was hard.
You lost on that?
I lost on that. I lost a dynasty championship on that. Yeah, heartbreaking. I sent the message. I sent the message to the group. Oh, I won my back-to-back title, and then the sleeper notification comes in, 53-yard touchdown, and the guy was like, oops, and I was just like, wow. I just sat there like, wow, bro, really? I walked away from the TV because I thought they were going to kneel it. There was a minute left. They didn't have to do nothing. Whatever. But
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It happens. It happens.
That hurts, dude.
It happens. It happens. But realistically, a lot of people kind of tricked themselves into thinking that Lenore was going to be an outside guy. And, you know, the second week, you kind of saw the cracks. That long pass down the sideline to Jalen Reagor in the Eagles game. You know, at times, he played well, wasn't really tested. But I think he is more suited to be a slot. And I think that that's the way that they envision him. And, you know, I think that those first 2 weeks were kind of a tease, but in the wrong direction in terms of he might be put in a spot where he's not going to be successful. So I really do think that he's going to be the guy that if they don't bring K'Wan Williams back, would be their slot. So, I mean, probably the easiest answer and probably the most obvious one, Mauricio, but I appreciate the contribution, bro.
Yeah, I think you could see, like, even though he showed promising traits in training camp, in preseason, and earlier on the year, you could still, he's just kind of, you know, over his skis a little bit. And I think
breaking news.
Yep. Breaking news.
You go first.
Okay. So Sean McVay came out and said that Cam Akers will be a go against the 49ers for his season debut. Per Sean McVay, he was out there full speed, flying around, and it was amazing to see on Cam Akers, running back for the Los Angeles Rams. Jason, react.
Thanks a lot, Cam Akers. No, look, I look realistically, man. Hey, that's impressive. That is some like $1 million man shit right there, man. And I'm happy that he's
Achilles
a baller.
Ruptures are freaking brutal.
6 months and he's back. Look, man, you different. But why this week?
Why?
Goodness gracious, man, it's good. Why not next week? You know, maybe you play another team next week. Goodness.
Like, we respect you, but come on. Not this week.
Nah, happy for you, but why?
Happy for you, but deep down, I'm crying.
Yeah, man.
Oh, my goodness. So what do you think? Based on just that little quote from Sean McVay, oh, he's flying around at full speed. He looks amazing. And with the emergence of Sony Michel since being traded from the Patriots to the Rams, obviously it's crystal clear. It takes time to acclimate once you get traded mid-year. It's not always going to be plug and play. We got spoiled with the emergence of Emmanuel Sanders when we got him right away. It's not always like that. Does that make you a little bit nervous to hear that and understanding now that they got two pretty formidable backs? Obviously, Darnell Henderson's on IR, so he won't be a factor, but those two guys are pretty good.
Yeah, you probably expect about 8 carries from Cam Akers, but, you know, this run defense has been incredible week after week. I mean, they slowed down Joe Mixon. They slowed down a lot of some pretty good backs, man. So just got to hope the run defense is there. And again, if you're playing ahead and you're playing the game that you believe that you can play from ahead with a lead, then that run game kind of fades away. And you know, don't discount the fact that McVay is going to start to feel that pressure if the 49ers get out to a quick lead, right? Like, oh, okay, I got to make something happen. And what I mean by that is I'll point to the last Rams game, fake field goal. What? Like, you're desperate now. Like, now you're in like the trick bag, like we got to win this game, like type thing. So don't discount that either. So look, not good because Cam Akers is a good player, very good player. But the problem is he in shape? Is he in game shape? And how much will he be used? I don't want to see him play in this game, but I'm happy for him because obviously, you know, football players over everything. And I'm happy that he's been able to get back. And what he's doing is nothing short of a medical miracle. Like, they are going to literally use this as a way to, when other guys rupture their Achilles, say, well, look, Cam Akers came back, and they're going to use whatever happened to him. Like, if he goes out there and balls, then there's going to be a precedent for guys who have ruptured their Achilles and say, look at this guy. If he doesn't, then they're going to say, well, maybe take it a little bit slower. So right now, Cam Akers is at the forefront of sports medicine And he will be looked at as he's going to be looked at as the data point, right? Like for a lot of people who
they're going to put him under a microscope and be like, what did you do? What did you eat? What was your training? What was your rehab? How did you do that?
Right. But if the 49ers run defense has been the way that it's been lately, then it shouldn't be as big of an issue, but it's still not something to just brush off.
Absolutely. So that is going to be something that is added to the intrigue of this win or go home game. Are you concerned at all? Do you think that the Falcons will help the 49ers at all and take down the Saints? I mean, it is a competitive rivalry between those two, so there might be some skin in the game for the Falcons to beat the Saints, but do you think they're going to help us out? Because from my understanding, if the Falcons beat the Saints and the 49ers lose, 49ers are still in. Like, that's
correct.
One of the only like silver linings left. Do you think the Falcons are going to do anything for the 49ers or is it the Saints kind of getting back to full speed a little bit?
I really wish that this game was at 1:00 because then, I mean, not for the 49ers. I mean, it is at 1:00 California time. It's all about, 1:00 Eastern time. It would have been really, really dope if the Falcons and Saints played at 1, and then the 49ers know exactly what they need to do going into this game, whether they need to play guys. But that game starts at the same exact time as the 49ers. So for me, 49ers, put that shit out of your mind. Put it out of your mind, man. Like, you've got to win your game. Win your game. And bless the Saints' heart. They tried so badly last week to lose that game. They tried so hard to give it to the Panthers, and the Panthers were just like, nah, man, we don't want it. We don't want to win.
Nah, man.
Taysom Hill's throwing balls right to Panthers defenders. They're dropping them. Realistically, the 49ers are playing for two portions of fan bases. One, 49er fans, and two, America. Because guess what? If the 49ers don't make this and the Saints do, your Saturday football will involve you watching Taysom Hill playing quarterback in an NFL wildcard game. So, America, we got you. We're trying to save you from this. We are trying to save you from this. And the 49ers are playing for 49ers fans and America. Because otherwise...
No pressure.
No pressure. But otherwise, you will be subjected, because I know people will be upset, well, the 49ers didn't make it. You know damn well you're going to watch that game. You will be subjected to having to watch Taysom Hill throw a football for 60 minutes. Good God, I can't think of another way that I would rather do so many other things, but I probably would watch myself, man. It's just no pressure, 49ers. Go out there and do it for America. America needs you.
No pressure. Machiavelli says, I tore my ligament on my same thumb as Jimmy right now, which I found funny in itself, but I can't imagine throwing a football. So good luck, Jimmy. That's an interesting insight there from someone with a UCL tear.
The other thing is that they'll just shoot that thing up with all pain meds and everything, and it's really just going to come down. It's really just going to come down to adrenaline and pain tolerance at that point. Yep. If they numb that thing up and he's able to hold the football, that's the other thing. It's like they'll give him everything that if he says he's going, they're going to shoot that thing up until he's like high in the sky, man. Like, and that's just where it's at.
And one of the things he talked about today is that they're working through different ways to tape it. I think, they don't want it to be like moving. So as long as it's pretty much stationary and yet he can still grip, they can shoot it the hell up so you don't feel a damn thing. Might be the recipe for success, but we're going to find out. It's going to be quite the week of developments from practice. So it's going to be really interesting to watch. All Niners says, I agree, Jason. If Jimmy Garoppolo starts, he'll be on a short leash. Trey will be prepped all week to start, so Kyle will be more willing to make a mid-game switch.
I hear that. That's a very smart sentiment right there. And I think that's another thing too, is he's preparing both of them because he is going to take it all the way up. And I think he does want to have that option. So, as long as things don't get out of hand, like if God forbid somehow this game turns out like it's like 21-0, don't throw Trey Lance in there and say, go save us, kid. Like that's not going to be where it's at. Like you need to know in those first two drives, okay, he's doing this, he can do this, he can't do this, then you got to make a move, right? Like don't put Trey in some spot where it's like, now you're asking the kid to be Superman and save the season, because that's not fair either. But I agree with this.
Absolutely. Mike says, and we appreciate you guys for the super chats. We really do.
Appreciate that.
So we got, do we see more over-under fronts from our D-line to give Stafford and their O-line a different look?
I
I
defer to
mean,
you.
I would imagine that they're going to try to do a couple different things in regards to stunts and trying to mix it up to be able. So one of the things that I watch when I watch the 49ers offensive line is I get to watch all the defensive stunts and different alignments that they roll out against us, the way they are able to manipulate and gain the one-on-one matchups. Hell, you can even go back to the Monday Night Football game, I believe, when TJ Watt, what did TJ Watt get? He got 4 sacks that game.
Yeah,
One of
Baker
the
got
things,
9, right? Baker had 9 sacks in that game.
oh, but one of the things that I was watching was how they were scheming it open. They were getting all 4 offensive linemen sliding, and they were getting them in one-on-one matchups that was leaving TJ Watt on an island with a right tackle, and he was just going to work.
A rookie too.
Obviously, if the 49ers and D'Amico Ryans can continue to develop certain fronts over, under, whichever way you want to go, and or a mix of just different types of combinations and blitzes to be able to take advantage of gaps and get those one-on-one matchups, because that's the problem right now. Someone asked in the chat earlier, what's going on with Nick Bosa? Nick Bosa's getting blocked by like 3 people every play. And unfortunately, like, we're not seeing those same types of alignments where we're able to somehow get Nick Bosa on one-on-one matchups. It's just not occurring. But I think that's also why we're seeing guys like Arden Key. We're seeing guys like Willis get some sack production and kind of clean up because they're sending so much help to Bosa's side. So I would like to see some different looks for sure. I would like to see the offensive line look really confused out there. So hopefully that is the case, because I do want Nick Bosa to come away with a couple more sacks. I think he needs it. It's been a while, because he hasn't got a sack since week 15 against the Falcons. And it looks like TJ Watt is running away. So yes, I would love to see some different alignments up front. And we saw them installed at training camp. So would love to see more complexity from those situations. I think that would be phenomenal. Chris Royal says Falcons are winning. Book it, baby. Hey, we're all complimentary, or we're all Falcons fans.
As a lifelong Falcons fan,
That's a lifelong
what?
Falcons
Rise
fan.
up.
That's the slogan, right?
I
Rise
guess.
up. Like a falcon we soar, apparently. So yes, there's a lot at play. Obviously, what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot more information come out this week. Is there anything that comes to the top of your mind that you wanted to talk about, Jason?
No, Brad, just what a year. And hopefully this isn't the end of it. I want to talk about another game. So
Yeah.
Go get it done, Niners. However, don't care. Don't care the quarterback. Don't care. Win the game. Don't care. We all have our opinions and everything, but at the end of the day, we're still fans at heart, right? Like all of us. And I don't want to be right. I'd rather they win. So I don't care who the starter is. If Cobb throws Jimmy out there and Jimmy wins, great. Then they move on to the playoffs. Amazing. If he throws Trey out there and they win, great. They move on to the playoffs. I don't care. Just win. And I think that that's how everybody should be feeling right now. But a lot of what I just looked at, I just opened up my Twitter real quick. There's a lot of freaking out going on in the timeline right now.
Is there?
And I'll tell you this.
Oh, boy.
I'm here for the chaos, but at this point, you have to remember that we're so out of control with this. Like, we have no control of it, and we just got to kind of roll with it. So it's going to be an interesting week, to say the least. Every day will be some new news. Every day will be something that comes out, a video. That video's got me really starting to think now that maybe my Trey thing is out, But yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. One way or another, this team will always always give you something to talk about one way or another. It's never as easy as just, hey, we're going to roll with this guy. We're going to try and see what happens. It's always going to be some sort of drama. But that is the fun of being a 49er fan. That is the fun of being a 49er, especially in 2021, 2022. So
absolutely. And I just had a realization, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not going to actually say it.
Okay.
But the season's almost over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether we agree or not on how far we go.
One way or another, it's in the next few weeks, it's going to come to an end.
There you go. That means the state of the franchise episodes. I mean, we'll keep having episodes throughout the offseason, but this is a staple of the year. I want more of these. I want playoff state of the franchise episodes. Obviously, I mean, we've had a solid 500 people in this live the entire time. That the energy in the chat always, each and every week for these episodes are so fire. I want to experience state of the franchise playoff frenzy hype. That's what I want.
If we are able to do this for one more week, then we need to step up all of the content. Meaning, state of the franchise, we should bring in heavy hitters to also be on here with us as well too. Like, there's a lot of things that we can go with it, right? Like, yes. I know I have ideas for what I want to do if there's a playoff game. Spoiler alert, maybe a round table might come back. Spoiler alert, maybe 2 round tables will come back where we split it up and there's 3 and 3 and 3. Like, look, man, there's a lot of ways we can go with it, and a lot of it depends on how this game goes. But again, as 49er fans, I know everybody has their opinion on who they want to start at quarterback. A lot of what you saw last week was very exciting, and you should be excited. No one's trying to take that away from you because you should be excited. But at the same time, just win the damn game. Win the damn game however you can. I don't care how you do it. If it's Robbie Gould kicking 7 field goals, I'm happy. I don't care. Win the game. Win the game. I don't care.
Yes, we want the 49ers to win. Also, we want the Falcons to win just for a little bit of an insurance policy.
Rise up.
That would rise up, baby.
Let's go, Matt Ryan.
Let's go, Matty Ice.
Dip into that MVP juice, man. Get it back, man. Yeah. Figure it out. Go talk to the Monstar or something like that. Get your powers back.
Oh my gosh, seriously. Figure it out, guys.
Taysom Hill.
Come on.
Dude, come on. Please don't do this.
Please don't. Yeah, seriously. We need that insurance. But Jason, the hope is next Wednesday we are back right here in these seats, hyped as hell because the 49ers have made it into the playoffs. We'll be back next Wednesday, I think, regardless. Obviously, we obviously understand what we want the outcome to be. I think that's safe to say for everyone. Jason, tell the good people where they can find you, where they can ingest more spicy Aponte content.
I felt like I was chilling today, even though I drank like a half a Red Bull before I came.
Oh, you were very chilling.
Yeah.
But that's just the vibe. That's
for now. It's always those post game shows that I'm always like off the handle, like, and I'm just like, and then I watch back later, and I'm like, bro, what the hell's wrong with you? Shut up, man. All right, so like, God, somebody shut this guy up and cut his mic off. All right, right there, you see my Twitter at Jason Aponte 2103. Jason Aponte on YouTube. Tomorrow, I will be on Grant Cohn's show. Can't wait. I can't imagine what that guy has waiting for me tomorrow, and what he's gonna try to throw at me. Friday, we'll do Sprint Right Option. Unfortunately, fantasy football season's over, so no more fantasy football content until we get into Dynasty Talk, and then Sunday post-game reaction, and then hopefully we get to do it all again and get ready for another game. But close to 5,000 subs on YouTube.
That's right.
Right.
Where are you at now?
I think it's like 4,950 or something like that. Very close.
Obviously we're on dual streams right now.
Yep.
So if you're with my stream on the SF 49ers and you're not following Jason yet, do that right now. Stop.
I'm Chris Borland. I'm Chris Borland subs away. Chris Borland subs away. 50.
It's 50. I mean, there might be 50 in here who haven't subbed yet, and they just haven't made the conscious realization. So if you have not subbed, let's get Jason to that 5K today. I bet we can do it. I'll try to get you a shout out on my page too.
Woo!
Let's get Jason.
That's the highlight.
To 5K today.
That's the highlight of my year if I'm able to get something like that for Brad. But yeah, and also for anybody who's here, old or new, anything like that, like this video, subscribe to both channels, hit notification bells because the content does not stop. We will be in Mobile. We were just talking about it. That's something else that we're jazzed about. But right now, we're really focused on this team right now.
Wanda with the sub. Let's go. Already got the W in front of her name. You don't even have to change it.
Whoa, Wanda. Whoa, Wanda. Double W's.
Double dub. Let's go. We see all you guys. Again, we appreciate you always supporting both Jason and I's channel, doing it all. Again, we will be back to break it down. Obviously, Jason and I both have content scheduled for the rest of the week and, of course, for the rest of the offseason. It's going to be a blast. So tune in with us next Wednesday for our weekly State of the Franchise episode. We will see you guys on the other side. Until then, let's get this danked up. What do you got for us?
No, just that one comment from Lee Ving, cross streams. Is that good?
Which one?
Yeah, the one from don't put it up. Yeah, but it's just funny, man. When they said that's so good, man. That is so good. But yeah, hey, and then Jimmy gives this stream a thumbs up. I'm tired of y'all, man. We gotta go. But hey, look, guys, enjoy the week. Let's go Niners, and thank you guys as always, man, for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. This was a lot of fun as always.
Absolutely. You guys have a good